Okay, so ready to dive back into the Great Hunt.
Absolutely.
These excerpts are really upping the ante
Yeah,
for Rand and everyone else.
yeah, definitely. And one thing that struck me about these excerpts in particular is how we're just thrown right into the action.
Yeah.
So you're not easing into this world at all. You're immediately confronted with this very dark ritual, this sense of impending doom, and the very air just crackles with tension.
Hmm.
It's almost like being dropped onto a stage just as the curtain rises
Yes.
on this pivotal act.
Yeah, and I love that because you're thrown right into the action. And it
Yeah.
really, like you said, that tension is palpable and it really makes you want to keep reading to find out what's going to happen, especially with that opening scene. I mean, it's chilling. You've got Boar's Race,
Right.
and who expects a peaceful interlude when there's a murderal involved?
Yeah, exactly. Murderals are basically like the embodiment of dread and fear
Mm-hmm.
in a world that's already like saturated,
Right.
in danger, and yet even these creatures pale in comparison to the figure that is orchestrating this whole ritual.
Mm-hmm.
The way that Jordan describes this figure, cloaked in shadow, radiating power,
Mm-hmm.
you know, insistently that there's a puppet master and they're pulling the
Oh,
strings.
absolutely. And what a reveal when we finally learned who that puppet master is.
Right.
Balzaman just casually dropping the bombshell that the Dragon Reborn has entered the
I love
world.
that.
Talk about a game changer.
It's
It just sends shockwaves through the entire story.
absolutely.
Hmm.
And, the dragon reborn in this world is more than just this prophesied figure, right? It's a symbol of both hope and destruction.
Right.
And the prophecies that surround him are so ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
They're open to interpretation, they're open to manipulation, and that just instantly creates this undercurrent of uncertainty and intrigue.
Right.
Because everybody's trying to figure out who is the dragon reborn, but even more importantly, how can we control him?
Right.
How can we use this to our advantage?
It's like this ticking time bomb.
Been thrown into the mix. And then you have Rand, right?
Right.
Simple shepherd
Yeah.
discovers he can wield this incredible and dangerous magic.
Yeah.
And you can just feel the weight of destiny
Oh, yeah.
crashing down on him.
Absolutely. And it's like this classic hero's journey, but it has this wonderfully dark
Mm-hmm.
and complex twist because on the one hand you have these prophecies proclaiming Rand as like the savior, the one destined to confront the Dark One,
Right.
but then on the other hand
Yeah.
he's grappling with the terrifying reality that this magic that he can wield could very well consume him.
Absolutely. And, he's dealing with that internal struggle,
Mm-hmm.
especially knowing about the taint on Arzeddon.
Right.
It's like this ticking time bomb
Yeah.
that's within him as well.
Yeah.
And it just makes every interaction that he has with the One Power
Right.
just fraught with danger.
Absolutely. And, that's one of the things I love about Jordan's world building is that it's not simply good versus evil.
Right. It's about the inherent dangers of power.
Mm-hmm.
That fine line between control and chaos.
Yeah.
And, this concept of the tainted Sedin adds another layer to that
Mm-hmm.
because it reflects this deep-seated societal fear of men wielding magic. And that's something that Rand has to confront not only internally, but also externally.
Right. And as if he doesn't have enough on his plate, he's also dealing with the Amerlin seat,
Right.
the leader of the Aes Sedai.
The most powerful woman in the world.
And
It's
Nynaeve.
basically saying, you are the dragon reborn.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about pressure.
Yeah.
This is a shepherd from a remote village.
Exactly.
How does that external validation or invalidation impact his internal struggle with his identity?
Right. Because it's one thing to suspect you might be the dragon reborn,
Right.
but to have it confirmed by the Amerlin seed,
Right.
that changes everything.
Yeah.
It's not just his personal struggle anymore. It's about what this declaration means for the world
Right.
and how others will perceive him.
Mm.
Because some might see him as a savior, others might see him as a weapon,
Mm-hmm.
some might even see him as a threat.
Right.
So it really forces him to confront all these complexities of destiny and what it means to be the dragon reborn.
Absolutely. And it's a lot for anyone to process, but then when you factor in the other characters whose lives are irrevocably changed by these events,
Yeah,
we see Nynaeve discovering her own potential to channel.
right.
But it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
It is.
On the one hand, she has this incredible gift,
Yeah.
but on the other, it kind of thrusts her into this world
Mhm.
where wielding that gift comes with immense danger.
Exactly. And it really challenges her deeply held beliefs about herself and her place in the world.
Mm.
Because remember, Nynaeve is from the Two Rivers,
Right.
a place where women healers are respected, but also kind of feared because of their abilities.
Right.
So her initial reaction to channeling is almost instinctual. Yeah. It's born from years of repressing this part of herself.
It's almost like she's wrestling with these two different identities.
Yes.
The healer and the channeler, and trying to figure out how they coexist within her.
Exactly. And it's that internal conflict that makes her journey all the more compelling, especially as we see her kind of being forced to confront the terrifying consequences of this world's magic.
And speaking of terrifying consequences, we can't forget about Egwene.
Oh, no.
Her capture by the Seanchan is easily one of the most disturbing and thought-provoking parts of these excerpts.
Absolutely. And, it's just this stark reminder that while the world of the Wheel of Time is filled with magic and wonder, it's also a place where power can be brutally misused.
Right.
And the Seanchan embodies this darker aspect of power dynamics, particularly in their enslavement and subjugation of women who can channel.
And the way they use the atom is just horrifying.
It is.
It's this device that not only blocks channeling, but inflicts pain.
Yeah.
It just highlights this utter disregard for these women's autonomy. Yeah.
And their agency.
It's dehumanizing.
Yes, it's chilling.
It is. And what's even more disturbing is the ideology behind it.
Right.
They genuinely believe they're doing the right thing.
Right.
That by enslaving domain, they are protecting the world from this uncontrolled power.
Right.
So it really forces us as readers to confront a culture whose beliefs are fundamentally different from our own.
Right.
And to kind of question, how do they justify this cruelty?
Yeah, and it's definitely a challenging aspect of the story. I found myself both fascinated and horrified by their society and their belief system. And it just raises all sorts of questions about how power can be used to control and oppress, and the justifications that people use to legitimize those actions.
And that's what I love about Jordan's writing, is that he doesn't shy away from these uncomfortable truths. He forces us to confront these difficult questions about power, control, and the potential for abuse, even within a system that claims to be righteous. Yeah, it really makes you think about the world we live in.
It does.
Doesn't it? And how power structures can be manipulated to serve certain agendas, often at the expense of the marginalized.
Absolutely. And in this case, it's women who can channel, who bear the brunt of this oppression.
Right.
Their stories, particularly Egwene's, provide this very powerful counterpoint to that more traditional hero's journey, reminding us that courage and resilience can take many forms.
And speaking of courage, even with the threat of the Seanchan looming large, the quest for the Horn of Valere continues.
It does.
It's like this epic scavenger hunt with world-altering stakes.
Absolutely. And the Horn of Valere is more than just this powerful artifact.
Right.
It represents a glimmer of hope in the face of this overwhelming darkness. And we have the prophecy, that states that whoever blows the horn in the last battle can call upon heroes from the past to fight against the shadow.
It's like this beacon of possibility.
It is.
That even in the darkest of times, there's a chance for victory.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, everybody wants to get their hands on it.
Right.
You see all these different factions vying for control, each believing that they know best how to wield its power.
Which is a really interesting dynamic, because it's not just about finding the horn.
Exactly.
It's about who ultimately controls it.
Yes.
And what they intend to do with that power.
Exactly. And that's where the real intrigue begins.
And the stakes are amplified by the fact that the Dark One's forces are also searching for the horn.
Of course.
So it's like, what happens if the forces of darkness gain control of such a potent artifact?
And that uncertainty, that tension, is what keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Oh, absolutely. And even those brief glimpses that we get of the horn's power, like when it's partially sounded, are enough to demonstrate its world-altering potential.
Exactly.
It's not just some mythical object. It's a very real, very dangerous weapon.
Absolutely. And in these initial excerpts, Jordan masterfully sets the stage.
He does.
For this conflict of epic proportions. It's a clash between light and shadow. With the Horn of Valere at the center.
And he does it so well.
He does.
You've got prophecy, you've got political intrigue, ancient evils, characters grappling with these extraordinary circumstances.
And it's not just the external conflicts that are so captivating. It's the internal struggles that these characters go through, their personal journeys of self-discovery that really draw you into the story.
And speaking of compelling character,
yes,
we also get introduced to Lanfear in these excerpts.
Oh, yes, Lanfear. And let me tell you, she is a force to be reckoned with.
She is a force of nature.
Who is she really?
Right.
And what are her motivations?
Lanfear, she is shrouded in mystery.
She is.
She is this figure from legend with this kind of fearsome reputation, said to have been the lover of Luz Theron Telamon, the dragon of a past age.
So her presence instantly raises the stakes.
Oh, yeah. And her entrance is nothing short of dramatic.
Oh, it's very dramatic.
She just appears.
She just...
It's very clear that she's incredibly powerful.
Oh, yeah.
But her true allegiances are very...
Shrouded, yeah.
Shrouded in shadow, yeah.
Exactly.
We don't really know whose side she's on.
No, and you get the feeling that she's playing her own game.
Yes.
That her motivations are complex.
Yes.
On the surface, she seems to be aiding Rand.
Right.
But there's this sense that she has her own agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not align with Rand's best interests.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of unease surrounding her.
Absolutely.
You just get this feeling.
Don't trust her.
Yeah. Like, don't trifle with me. Don't mess with me.
She's very powerful. Very confident.
Right. And so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yes.
She's going to play a pivotal role in the story.
Absolutely.
I think that much is clear.
Oh, yeah.
But to what end?
Right.
Is she an ally? Is she an enemy? Is she something in between?
I think even Rand senses that
Right.
he's suspicious of her.
Yeah, he doesn't fully trust her.
He doesn't.
Which I think is really interesting. And that's another layer to this story that makes it so compelling.
It really does. It's that weaving of character development, political intrigue, epic battles, and it's only the beginning.
I know, it's so good.
It's really amazing how Jordan juxtaposes these grand, world-altering events with the really intensely personal struggles of his characters.
Yeah.
You know, you've got prophecies, wars, ancient evils, but it's those individual journeys that really hit home.
It's true, and it's like the fate of the world is resting on these characters' shoulders.
Right.
But they're still trying to figure out who they are.
Exactly.
What their place is in this crazy world, and I think that's really highlighted in Egwene and Nynaeve's storyline.
Yeah.
You know, their capture by the Seanchan is so much more than just a plot device.
It is.
It's really a deep dive into this culture
Right.
that views power, particularly female power,
Right.
with such suspicion and fear.
And it forces us to confront those very fears within ourselves, right?
Right.
What does it mean to have power?
Mm-hmm.
Especially power that is feared and misunderstood.
Right.
And Egwene and Nynaeve are stripped of everything, their freedom, their agency, and they're forced to ask that very question within this brutal regime.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
To see them subjected to that kind of cruelty. The way that the Seanchan used the atom to control and manipulate these women is just horrifying.
It really is. It's dehumanizing.
It is, but even within that system of oppression,
Yeah.
you see these flickers of defiance.
Oh, absolutely.
This refusal to be broken.
Yeah, their spirits are not easily extinguished.
No.
Despite the horrors that they endure. They find ways to resist, to hold on to that sense of self.
Yes.
And Egwene, even as she's being forced to channel against her will, she never gives up.
Right.
You know, she clings to who she is.
Right.
She clings to her connection with her friends.
Yes.
And that inner strength becomes her lifeline.
And Nynaeve, she's a force of nature.
Oh, she is.
I mean, even stripped of her familiar role as wisdom,
Right.
she finds a way to navigate this oppressive environment.
She does.
That scene where she instinctively uses the ter'angreal to defend herself.
Oh, I know.
It's such a great scene.
It's amazing, and it's a perfect example of how Jordan subverts our expectations. Because you'd think
Right.
being captured, stripped of her freedom,
Right.
it would diminish her power. But it's like her channeling is amplified by her defiance,
Yes.
by her refusal to be controlled.
Yes, it's like the Seanchan underestimate her at their own peril.
They do.
They see what they expect to see, which is just another domain to be broken.
Right.
But she's so much more than that.
Oh, she's strong. She's compassionate.
Right.
She's fiercely protective of the people that she loves.
Yes.
And she has this deep connection to the natural world.
Yes. And speaking of ter'angreal,
Yes.
they're so interesting because they're more than just magical artifacts, right?
Right.
They represent this connection to a past.
Right. This past age.
That's both wondrous and terrifying at the same time.
Absolutely.
They can amplify the one power in these really unpredictable ways.
They can.
And it's like they're a physical manifestation of the duality of power.
Yes.
The potential for both creation and destruction.
Exactly. And it just makes you wonder what else is out there.
Right?
What other secrets does this world hold?
What other remnants of the past are waiting to be discovered?
Right, because Jordan constantly reminds us that the past is never really gone. It echoes through the present. It shapes the destinies of both individuals and nations.
And in a way, I feel like that echoes Rand's journey as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he's grappling with this newfound power. He's wrestling with the taint on Seddon.
Right.
But he's also being forced to confront his own past.
Exactly.
The secrets of his lineage.
Yeah, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion, right?
Right.
And with each layer,
the stakes get higher.
The stakes get higher.
Yeah, and he's haunted by these visions.
Right.
He's plagued by whispers from the Dark One.
Right, trying to get inside his head.
Right, and it's almost like he's battling on two fronts.
He is.
He's battling against the external forces of darkness, but also against this darkness within himself.
Absolutely. And the taint is a constant reminder of that.
Yes.
It's not just a physical threat.
Right.
It's this psychological one.
Right.
It's chipping away at his sanity, his very sense of self.
And it's a testament to his character that he doesn't crumble under that pressure.
He doesn't.
Because he could so easily give in to the darkness.
Oh, absolutely.
Embrace that destructive potential.
Yeah, embrace the taint, give in to those whispers.
Right.
But he makes the choice to fight.
He does?
He chooses to believe in the prophecies, in his role as the dragon reborn.
Right.
Even when it seems like an impossible burden.
It really makes you wonder what keeps him going.
Right. What drives him?
Is it duty? Is it a sense of destiny? Or is it something deeper, something more personal?
It's probably a combination of factors.
Right.
I mean, there's a sense of responsibility for sure, but there's also a deep-seated goodness within Rand.
Right.
This compassion for others that drives him.
Yeah.
He can't just stand by and watch the world burn.
Right.
And it's that empathy, that willingness to fight for something bigger than himself.
Right.
That really makes him a hero.
And he's not alone in this fight.
No, he's not.
Despite being separated, for a lot of these excerpts, the bond between Rand, Mat, and Perrin remains unbroken.
Oh, it's unbreakable, that friendship.
It really is.
And it's one of the things I love most about these books.
Me too.
Because it's this reminder that even in a world full of darkness and uncertainty, that human connection can be so powerful.
Yeah, it's a force for good.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's like their friendship is a source of strength for all of them.
It is.
It grounds them.
Right.
It reminds them of what they're fighting for. And it gives them the courage to keep going even when all hope seems lost.
And it's not just the three of them.
No.
It extends to other characters too.
Yes.
Like Loyal.
Oh, the Loyal.
The Ogier.
Yes, gentle giant.
Yes. And despite their differences, in species and worldview.
Right. Completely different.
They develop this really beautiful friendship.
They do. They have a deep respect for each other.
Yes, and a shared understanding that transcends those differences.
They do. And I think Loyal's presence in this story is so important.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he brings this sense of wisdom.
Right.
A different perspective.
Right.
That challenges Rand's assumptions and helps him see the bigger picture.
Right. And he's a constant reminder.
He is.
That there's more to the world than just the fight against the shadow.
Right. There's more to life than just the fight.
Right.
He brings that balance.
Yes.
With his love of knowledge, his appreciation for history and culture.
Yes, he's such a great character.
He is a great character.
And then there's Tom Merrilin.
Oh, Tom Merrilin.
The Glee man with a mysterious past.
Right. What's his deal?
Right.
We don't really know.
He's a bit of an enigma.
He is. He's very cunning. He's always got a plan.
Right. You're never quite sure where his loyalties lie.
No, you don't.
But he always seems to be there when Rand needs him most.
He does, which makes you wonder, is he good? Is he bad? Is he just looking out for himself?
Right.
What's his angle?
And I think that's what makes him so interesting.
It does.
That air of mystery.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get with Tom Merrilin.
No, and I kind of love that about him.
Oh, he's a great character.
He is, and as these excerpts progress, you can really see how all of these characters, with their own unique strengths and flaws, are being drawn together. By fate, by the quest for the Horn of Valere, and by Rand's destiny as the Dragon Reborn.
Because everything is connected.
Right.
Even when they're apart.
Yes.
Their paths are converging.
It's like this tapestry.
It is.
That's being woven together.
And that's what makes it so compelling.
It's true.
It's not just about one hero's journey.
Right?
It's about the collective efforts of all these different individuals coming together for this common purpose.
It's that found family trope we see in a lot of fantasy.
And it works so well here.
It really does. And as we delve deeper into these excerpts, the quest for the Horn of Valere really intensifies.
It does.
And we get these really breathtaking moments, that scene where it's partially sounded.
I know.
It just sends shivers down my spine.
It's powerful.
It's so powerful.
And the heroes that it summons,
right.
It's clear that this is not just some legend.
Right.
Yeah, this is real.
It's really happening.
This is a game changer.
And it raises the stakes even higher.
It does. Because if a partial summoning can do that, what happens when the horn is fully unleashed?
Right. It's exhilarating and terrifying at the same time.
It is.
Because who knows what could happen.
Exactly. And as these excerpts come to a close, you really get this feeling that everything is about to change.
Yes.
Like all the pieces are in place.
Yes.
The stage is set.
Yes.
And the fate of the world hangs in the balance.
It's so good. We're left with so many questions.
I know.
Like, what's going to happen?
What's Rand going to do?
What about Egwene and Nynaeve?
The Seanchan?
Oh my gosh, there's just so much anticipation.
I know. I need to know what happens next.
Right. And luckily for us, we have the next part of our deep dive to get into.
Let's do it.
It's like watching a really intense game of chess.
Oh, yeah.
With the fate of the world hanging in the balance.
Absolutely. And just when you think you've figured out the players and their strategies, Jordan throws a curveball. Like with Ingtar.
Ugh, don't even get me started on Ingtar. Talk about a betrayal.
Right. I mean, this is a character who's been with us since the beginning.
Right.
A seemingly noble lord.
Right. Seems like a good guy.
Fighting for the light, and bam, he's revealed to be a dark friend.
I did not see that coming.
It makes you question everything, right?
Totally. Like, who can you trust?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that in this world, things are rarely black and white.
Right.
Everyone has their own motivations, their own darkness that they're grappling with.
And Ingtar's story is really tragic, isn't it?
It is, because you see how his past traumas led him down this path.
Right.
This desire for redemption.
Right. Yeah.
But he's seeking it in all the wrong places.
Right. And it ultimately leads to his downfall.
Yeah, it's a cautionary tale about the seductive nature of power and how easily good intentions can be twisted.
Absolutely. But it's in the midst of all this chaos and betrayal that we see Rand truly stepping up.
Oh, yeah.
He confronts Ingtar, but then he goes head-to-head with Balazamon himself.
Right. And that confrontation is epic.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. And it's a real turning point for Rand.
It is.
Because he's still afraid. He's still so aware of the taint.
Right, that constant threat.
But he refuses to back down.
Yeah, he's not fighting with this arrogance.
Right.
But with this quiet determination to protect the people he cares about.
Yes, and it's not just about brute force either.
No.
He's using his intelligence, his understanding of the One Power, to outmaneuver Balazamon.
He's a strategist.
Yes.
He's thinking several moves ahead.
It's like he's playing chess with fate.
Yes, exactly. And you can tell Jordan's having a blast writing these scenes.
Oh, absolutely. And I love how Rand uses Balzamon's own tactics against him.
Right. Using those doubts and fears to fuel his own strength.
Yes. It's brilliant. And this newfound sense of agency that Rand displays, it extends to his determination to rescue Egwene.
Right. He doesn't even hesitate.
No. He sees what needs to be done, and he's like, let's go.
Even though it's incredibly dangerous.
Oh, he's risking everything.
Everything.
To save his friend.
He's going up against an entire empire.
And he doesn't care.
It's such a powerful testament to their bond.
It really is. It shows how much he cares.
And it's not just Rand who demonstrates that kind of courage and loyalty.
Right. Matt and Perrin are right there with him.
Yes. Even though Matt is still dealing with the effects of the dagger.
Right. He's not at his best.
But he still plays a crucial role.
Yeah, he's not a powerful channeler.
Right.
But he has his own strengths, his wit, his street smarts.
Right. And he uses those to disrupt the Seanchan.
He does. He's a valuable member of the team.
He is. And Perrin, his connection to the wolves is so fascinating.
Oh, it's amazing.
I mean, it's not just a cool power, right? It speaks to this deeper connection he has with the world.
Right. It's a different way of experiencing the world.
Right. And it gives him this unique perspective.
And it proves to be essential in their fight against the Seanchan.
Absolutely. They're able to navigate the dangers of fall.
Right.
They get this tactical advantage. They couldn't have done it without him.
They really couldn't. And loyal. He might not be a fighter.
No, gentle giant.
But his knowledge, his calmness.
Yes.
It's a breath of fresh air.
It is.
Yeah.
Especially in those really tense moments.
Yes. He grounds them.
Yeah, reminds them of what they're fighting for.
And Nynaeve, talk about a woman on a mission.
Oh, she is fierce. Her determination to save Egwene.
Oh my gosh, she is unstoppable.
The Shan-Chan never stood a chance.
That scene where she shields Egwene.
I know. Chills.
Knowing it could kill her, it's just...
That's true friendship right there.
It is. It's such a powerful moment.
And it speaks to that unwavering loyalty that exists between women.
Right.
Especially in the face of adversity.
Absolutely. And their escape.
Oh, so good.
It's just such a testament to the strength that comes from supporting each other.
Absolutely. It's about unity. It's about resilience. It's about hope.
Yes. And, you know, reading these excerpts has really reminded me of how powerful stories can be. They can transport us. They can challenge us.
Absolutely.
They can inspire us.
And these excerpts, they do all of that and more.
They really do. So much to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
But for now, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
Thanks for joining me on this amazing journey.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.